WrestlePod is supported by viewers like you. To support WrestlePod and the other programs on this channel, visit patreon.com/Ian Beaumont live and direct. It's predictions time, and we're going to have a go at predicting WWE Summerslam. Do I make a fool of myself once again? That's coming up on WrestlePod. From Ian Beaumont, live and direct, this is WrestlePod. Welcome along, Ian Beaumont here, good to be with you once again. Time for another round of predictions. I already tried to predict TakeOver, which is happening mere hours from now, but we are just about a day and a little bit away from WWE Summerslam, the biggest party of the summer. And time to make a fool of myself once again as I take on predicting WWE, but not as big a fools as the Wrestle Talk and Cultaholic boys are in taking on each other at the moment in the current predictions contest. Ooh, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out. But I'm just going to take on WWE, see if I can get inside their little grey cells and figure out what they're trying to do. It's very difficult because we know Brock Lesnar is having a meeting with WWE officials on Sunday at 4 p.m., just 3 hours before the show officially starts, 1 hour before the pre-show starts. That's probably going to cause a complete change in plans. Maybe. But we will see. We will see what happens with that. But it does make trying to predict that match between Lesnar and Reigns bloody difficult, because you really don't know what's going to happen at that meeting. So, all that being said, let's kick off with the pre-show, with the kickoff show. 3 matches on that part of the card. And first one that we're going to talk about is Rusev and Lana taking on Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Now, here's the thing. This is a mixed tag match, so as per normal mixed tag rules, you've got, if Rusev is legal, Andrade Almas must be legal. If one of them tags their partner, the other one must tag in as well. So if Rusev tags Lana in, Vega must come in. If Andrade tags Vega in, Lana must come in. And the reverse is also true. So that if Lana tags Rusev, Andrade Almas must come in. If Vega tags Almas, Rusev must come in. So, having made that all very, very clear, it's obvious they're giving quite a bit of a push here to Andrade Cien Almas. Zelina Vega, I'm not so sure about whether they want to push her quite so much, because she didn't have matches in NXT. She's having matches now on the main card. So I'm kind of curious about what they're doing booking-wise with her. Lana's kind of a slowly improving storyline as it goes. She, her skills are gently upping. She's still not great in the ring, but she is gradually improving, which means Rusev is the interesting angle here, and who's pinning who? That's the question. It's really difficult to know. I know Almas has had a couple of wins over Rusev. Might be time, I think, for Rusev to get one back. And I'm thinking they won't do it by having Almas be pinned. I think it'll be Lana pinning Vega, technically. So that Rusev and Lana win. Because it's pre-show, you tend to have a lot of babyface victories on the pre-show. That's a standard. So, I think Lana will pick up the pin on Vega, Rusev and Lana picking up the victory. Next up, we're going to talk about the Cruiserweight Championship match here. Cedric Alexander, the current champion, taking on Drew Gulak. Ooh, here's an interesting one, because literally I have no clue what they're going to do here. Gulak's getting real serious. We've seen that over not just episodes 205 Live, but also he made an appearance in the UK Championship tournament in the first round. Really demonstrated some beautiful skills there. So I was really impressed with that. Also, this is, Cedric's a really good babyface right now. Gulak's a very good heel. It's very difficult to say that one of them should go over the other. If there were a clear difference in ability and all that, I would probably pick. But these two are both excellent competitors. So it's really, really hard to figure out what is going to be the deciding factor here. Even though I've just said that it's usual for pre-show matches to be won by babyfaces, I'm smelling a title change here. I'm going to say Drew Gulak picks up the victory here with some shenanigans. There will be a lot of heat on him, and it will be all good, because I think it will work beautifully. So, yeah, Drew Gulak picking up the victory for to become your new Cruiserweight Champion. Finally, for the pre-show, for the kickoff show, we have the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line as the B-Team defend against the Revival, Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson. Here again, as much as I really appreciate Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, they've been around the block quite a lot in WWE. This is about as high as they've ever really gotten in that sense, other than Bo winning the NXT Championship back along. But yeah, this is about as high as they've ever gotten, and I'm inclined to think that it's a little too early to take the titles off them now. That said, the people who should be taking the titles off them are entirely the Revival. Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson. They are the right team. But is it the right time? I'm not sure it is. But I'm going to go against my better judgment here. because I'm going to say that it will be the Revival becoming your new Raw Tag Team Champions and picking up the victory, probably with a little bit of shenanigans, over the B Team. And I'm kind of thinking that's how it's gonna go down. So we will see. So yeah, the Revival could well be your new WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. Next up, we are going into the main card itself, and we're going to start with Finn Balor versus Constable Baron Corbin. Do I think that's actually going to be the first match? Probably not. I don't know what will be the first match, though. This one's really difficult to kind of pick an order. So, yeah, I'm going to talk Finn Balor, Constable Corbin. It's really been a kind of a nothing feud for me, because I do not like where this feud has gone at all. It's been basically a rehash on Raw of the feud that was going on between Big Cass and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. And that was a horrible feud, if we're honest. So, Corbin has no heat because he doesn't really... He's presenting himself as an authority figure, as the Constable of Raw. But really, he just doesn't have any... he doesn't have any heat. He doesn't have any backbone, really. He's a toothless constable. So, my feeling on this is Finn Balor's going over. This one should be pretty easy. It will be a Finn Balor victory. I don't see Constable Baron Corbin really winning this at all. So, Finn Balor. Next up, we're going to look at the match for the Money in the Bank contract. Yes, this is a funny one. Because Braun Strowman is basically putting his Money in the Bank briefcase on the line against Kevin Owens. And if Owens wins, but unlike a title match where it's just pinfall or submission, if Braun Strowman loses in any fashion, pinfall, submission, disqualification, count out, knockout, Kevin Owens will win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, here's what I think will happen. I am betting on this being a Kevin Owens victory. Not by pinfall, not by submission, probably by disqualification. Because he's going to do everything he can to provoke Braun into getting disqualified. And that's my strong feeling here. This is a disqualification just waiting to happen. And Kevin Owens will pick up the Money in the Bank briefcase at that point. And that will play in to later in the night. This is what I'm thinking. So, yeah. Keep your eyes on that one, because I think that match is going to happen quite early in the card. And then probably be about the second match on, or the third match on the card. Official card, main card. Rather than the pre-show. So, yeah. I mean, it could even go on first, but I'm not really sure. That's not really going to be a hot opener. Whereas I think something like New Day Bludgeon Brothers could well be a hot opener. But we will see. Yeah. So, my gut instinct on this says Kevin Owens will get Braun Strowman disqualified, pick up the win, pick up the Money in the Bank briefcase, cash it in later. Next up, we're going to be talking the WWE United States Championship match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Jeff Hardy. Last month, of course, we had that very quick match where Shinsuke hit that infamous low blow before the match even got underway. Jeff Hardy said, "I'm good to go." One Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3. Wow. That was unexpected. This one is, I think, Shinsuke might try that again, but he won't succeed. It won't be a quick match this time. I think it'll be a much longer match. But again, this one's really tough to call because as much as Shinsuke Nakamura probably should still be holding the belt after this, it's tough to see Jeff Hardy not winning here. Unless there is some interference from Randy Orton, who is, by the way, conspicuously absent on this card. He is not officially down for a match at SummerSlam, which is a little unusual, which makes me think he is going to be causing the interference here, which leads me to believe that Shinsuke will then pick up the title again, retain, and then Orton will then attack him, setting up a new feud. That's my thinking. But we will see. But yes, Shinsuke Nakamura will retain the WWE United States Championship. Next up, we're going to talk the SmackDown Women's Championship. The triple threat match between Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. This one could go so many ways. It really could. There's talks of heel turns for Becky, heel turn for Charlotte. Nobody's talking about Carmella. Well, that's not quite true. I've heard one or two predictions that say Carmella's going to retain because of tension between Becky and Charlotte. And whilst that could happen, I'm not convinced. In fact, I'm not even certain Carmella is going to be pinned in this. Or submitted. I have a sneaking suspicion this match is really between Becky and Charlotte. The two of them will take Carmella out every time she tries to get involved. She might get a few big moments, but she's not going to be the bulk of the match. The bulk of the match is Charlotte and Becky. But who's coming out on top? Genuinely, this is about the hardest call of the bunch. I'm gonna say that this one's going Becky Lynch's way. But it will bring about a Charlotte Flair heel turn. That is how I see this going down. So that we'll have Charlotte versus Becky coming up at Hell in a Cell. Which will then, and then from Evolution we will have a new storyline coming into Evolution, the women's pay-per-view, whereby something will happen, probably on SmackDown. In fact, I'm going to suggest that Shayna Baszler is coming up to SmackDown. Because they're going to set something up at Evolution, which is then going to play into Survivor Series. Something along the lines of UFC 4 Horsewomen versus WWE 4 Horsewomen. Oh yes, I think that is happening. And I think the setup for that will be, it will start happening after SummerSlam with a call-up from NXT. Shayna Baszler will get called up to SmackDown. Next up, we're going to talk Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. No titles or anything on the line, but this has been an 8-year feud in the making. And honestly, at this point, it's really hard. Again, like so many of these, I don't have a lot of confidence in these predictions. Because it really is very difficult to kind of zero in on where WWE is going with this. With Daniel Bryan recently saying that it's about a 90% plus certainty he's re-signing with WWE. You do wonder what they're going to do in this match. Because there's so many different feud angles they can go here. And God, I wonder if the B team, formerly the Miz Tourage, might make an appearance here as well. That's there are so many possible angles here that Miz might hire back his old Miz Tourage for this match. I don't know. Or whether he will hire some other kind of quote-unquote hitman. And no, I'm not talking Bret Hart. To be in his corner for this one. Because at the moment, without any indication of any sort of support for Miz, I can't see Miz going over. Daniel Bryan just has too much momentum. He's just too good to be derailed by Miz on his own and to suffer a loss like that. Unless something else happens, unless somebody else gets involved. And quite honestly, at this point, I don't see who that can be, other than maybe the old Miz Tourage. But they were never that effective. So, I don't know. I have to put this one down as Daniel Bryan winning. But I got a little confidence in that, because literally, Miz will be, absolutely livid if that's the case. And I don't know. I really don't know on this one. I'm saying Daniel Bryan simply because I just cannot see a booking situation at the moment where The Miz comes out on top in a way that would be believable. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan. Next up, we're going to talk the Intercontinental Championship. And this one's getting, woohoo, interesting. We've got Dolph Ziggler as the defending champion with Drew McIntyre in his corner. Versus Seth Rollins as challenger with Dean Ambrose, the returning Dean Ambrose, in his corner. I gotta say, everything is being set up for a heel turn. Because Ambrose already looks way more heelish in his visible look than he did before. That's almost a little too obvious, though, that Dean Ambrose is going to turn heel. It's way too telegraphed. It's like somebody going to do a back body drop and setting up for the move before the guy has even hit the ropes to bounce back. That's, you know, usually that's way too telegraphed, and they never hit the back body drop then. So yeah, I get the sense it's like that. It's way too telegraphed as a heel turn. So here's my thinking. Everybody's calling for Dean Ambrose heel turn. But what if it was a Drew McIntyre face turn? Drew turns on Dolph, costing him the match, allowing Seth Rollins to pick up the victory, the championship. You could still have the two of them, you could still have Seth and Dean celebrating in the ring, doing the fist bump stuff. And then have Dean do his turn on top, but that would be a little bit overbooked. I'm thinking the heel turn's not now. I'm thinking it's Drew turning on Dolph, costing him the title. I think that's the kind of, you know, unexpected, out of left field booking that will genuinely catch people by surprise. And they were like, whoa, we did not see that coming. No, because WWE telegraphed this Dean Ambrose heel turn like way too much. Swerve. I think that's what's happening. So Seth Rollins will be your new Intercontinental Champion. Next up, we're going to get into the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. And honestly, this could be the first match on the night, on the main card. Or it could be a lot later. I really don't know. Bludgeon Brothers, Harper and Rowan, defending against The New Day. Big E, Kofi Kingston, and or Xavier Woods. 2 out of those 3 anyway. Not sure who it's going to be. Probably, I'm going to say Big E's one of them that will be in the match. I don't think we will have Kofi and Xavier together. I think it'll be either Kofi or Xavier with Big E. And I'm going to say Kofi on this one. But I have no clue. But yeah, here's what I think is gonna go down. This is gonna be the New Day at their most vicious best, taking on the Bludgeon. The kind of heat we saw in the Usos' New Day feud last year, that's what I think this is going to be like. It is going to be vicious. Those guys are going to pull out every stop, every trick in the book they know. Probably use some very heelish tendencies of their own to try and get over the Bludgeon Brothers. And it will work. And you will have the New Day as your brand new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I don't see much else that the Bludgeon Brothers can really do. They've not really been doing anything. And it's really, I think it's to that point where the New Day will ascend to the top once again. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, New Day, your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So we're getting towards the big matches on the card. I don't know which order these three will be in, but they will be the top three, without much of a doubt, I think. Let's start that bit with the WWE Championship match. AJ Styles defending against Samoa Joe. This one really is, again, quite difficult to call. Because as much as AJ Styles is very much, you know, he's going to be the cover star of 2K19, he's got all sorts of, it's obvious there's all sorts of plans lined up. Yet Joe is the kind of legitimate badass champion that would be an immediate like-for-like replacement, you know, going instead of being on Raw, being on SmackDown for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, if and when he goes to UFC, that will be it for his for his WWE career at that point. So my feeling there is that he's not going to be around much longer. Maybe a little bit, but not much longer. And Samoa Joe would be the ideal kind of badass champion. To put the WWE title on him, you know, at around the same time that maybe Lesnar drops the Universal Championship. That would be a straight like for like. And it would be probably the best thing to happen. I don't see it happening yet, though. They've just had Styles become one of the longest reigning WWE champions. He's held on to that now longer than, in single reign terms, longer than JBL did, which, that's pretty amazing. He's got a way to go until he beats CM Punk's record. Honestly, though, I could see that happening. I could see him legitimately becoming the longest reigning WWE champion in the modern era. Hell. You could have him set like I don't want to give you any ideas here that I have any insight or anything. No, I'm just pulling stuff out. But you could have him pull out a really long reign as champion. Maybe even like a couple of years. Which would be like unheard of. And you're thinking, he's got to drop the title soon. But no, he just keeps on winning, keeps on winning, keeps on winning. And that would be a hell of a story to tell. Whether they will do that or not, I don't know. But I could see something like that happening. AJ Styles is the kind of guy who could legitimately hold on to that belt for a couple of years. I mean, we've already become, if we get to Survivor Series, with him still as WWE Champion, it will have been over a year, which will be amazing. Literally will be amazing. And that will be, I think, a mark of respect to the man, because he's been one hell of a talent for all the years that I've followed him, from WCW through Ring of Honor and TNA, Impact Wrestling, all the way into New Japan and WWE. The guy being called the Phenomenal One would usually be, hyperbole upon hyperbole. It would be so full of hype. It would be just... The guy has been literally phenomenal from the get-go. The guy is a legitimately phenomenal athlete. And putting the WWE Championship on him for over a year would be a legitimate mark of respect for his ability. So as much as I want to see the title put on Joe, and I definitely think it's going to happen, I just don't think it's happening now. AJ Styles will retain. But I'm not going to say it's going to be a clean pinfall, because I know it's not a case of Styles cheating or anything like that. I have a hunch, just the sneakingest of suspicions, that there will be some slightly screwy finish here. And I'm not going to say double count out. I'm going to say Joe gets disqualified. It'll be a Joe disqualification. It could be an AJ Styles. AJ Styles gets disqualified for overreacting to something. But I think it will be Joe caught doing something. He will get disqualified. The match will be thrown out. And as much as that sounds like, I think it will work here. Because Joe is the kind of legitimate badass that could get disqualified, and for it not to hurt at all. Especially if he carries on the beatdown after the match, and you get this feud set up where he really, really wants to hurt AJ Styles. And you could use, we've already had a pretty intense little setup here. And you could just ratchet that up in the lead up to Hell in a Cell. Oh, God. Oh, good grief. I just thought something. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe in the Cell. Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. Oh, I'm calling that. And man, that would be a main event. That would be the top of the card. It would be the first time the WWE Championship would have been legitimately top of the card for a while. So, wow. Yes, I see that happening. So, yeah. So, Joe disqualified. AJ Styles retains. But it sets up for a big rematch at Hell in the Cell. And it will be a Hell in the Cell match. You wait and see. Next up, WWE Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey, and here's the thing. As much as I expect, as much as it's coming out that Rousey is, as much as it looks like Rousey's winning this, I'm smelling a swerve of some kind. I'm smelling something. Something will happen that will keep the title on Alexa Bliss. And it won't be Alicia Fox, who's currently in Bliss's corner. I get a sneaking suspicion there's going to be Natalya, who's been kind of generic babyface for a while, and now time to flip that switch and have her say, I've been pretending to be your friend whilst I've been training you. Secretly, I've been working out how to beat you. And have something like that set up for Hell in a Cell. Not Cell match, obviously, but set up for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And yeah, maybe even into Evolution, but then have that set up for something else. So yeah, I'm kind of smelling a little feud between Natalya and Rousey. I think the trigger's going to be pulled here at SummerSlam, and I think you're going to see Alexa Bliss retain due to interference from Natalya. We'll see. Finally, and I hope this isn't the last match, because the audience is just going to crap all over this. Brock Lesnar defending something called the WWE Universal Championship. I don't know what that is. I haven't seen it since Greatest Royal Rumble. Against Roman Reigns, who went for it at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and before that at WrestleMania. It's his third attempt. And you say the third time's the charm. Well, we don't know that the third time will be the charm, because, of course, as I said earlier, Lesnar's having a meeting with WWE officials 3 hours before bell time. We don't know. So, honestly, picking this one is literally just a coin flip. It really is. But I gotta say this. I think they would be stupid to not put the title finally on Roman Reigns at this point. So have Reigns win the match. And yes, have them let the smarkiest or the snarkiest. Because, come on, let's be honest here. There's no such thing as a smart mark. Because you're not smart if you're being snarky about it. You're just a snark. So let the snarks have their moment of boo! Boo the hell out of Roman Reigns. Let them have it. Let people think this is the end. That you're actually going to go out with the audience crapping all over Roman Reigns. Like, metaphorically speaking. And then have Kevin Owens' music hit. Cash in. Money in the Bank contract. And have him walk out as the Universal Champion. So there will be some cheers, but there will also be some boos. It'll be, again, that'll be a mixed reaction, but that will be expected. And then the next night on Raw, Owens can just crap all over the crowd. As I know he will want to. So, yeah. So, Reigns will win the match. But Owens, who will have picked up the Money in the Bank contract, if you remember my prediction from earlier, Owens will cash in the Money in the Bank contract afterwards, pick up the victory on Reigns. 1, 2, 3, your new WWE Universal Champion, Kevin Owens. Two-time. So, those are my predictions for SummerSlam. How many do I get right? How many do I get wrong? We will find out in due course. Coming up next, we're going to be talking WOS wrestling. We just had episode 4. I'm going to be reviewing that in the next episode of WrestlePod. But until then, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Ian Beaumont Live and Direct. And like WrestlePod on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/WrestlePod IBLND. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp. Stay tuned.